The idea of Devinder's triad, though it had many limitations, it inspired and encouraged many other chemists to search for or to try for new trends. With this inspiration and encouragement, Newland, who was an English scientist in 1866, came up with his idea, Newlands Law of Octaves. And today in this video, we're going to talk about this. Hey viewers, this is Devinder Kaur and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Enlightened Room. According to Newlands Law of Octaves, when elements are arranged in horizontal rows with increasing atomic masses, the properties of every eighth element starting from the element are a repetition of the properties of the starting element. So we're going to start with hydrogen here, as he also started his table with hydrogen as the first element. Now why its atomic mass is least? As we told here that the elements are arranged in the increasing atomic masses, and this whole stuff is based on the law of octaves, or you can say that a musical sargam according to Indian music, okay, and that musical sargam is sa re ga ma pa dha ni. So this is the seventh one and the eighth one is going to repeat here as sa. Okay, so similarly the elements would be arranged like this. The properties of first element and the properties of eighth element, here it is the eighth element, would be similar. Okay, so this is the first element here. So now we're going to look at for the eighth element. The first element here is hydrogen, and now we're going to take a look at the eighth element. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here is the eighth element. So that means the properties of hydrogen and fluorine would resemble with each other. Now this trend does not only imply or apply on the first group, it also applies on other groups. Like you can take the example of boron. Let's start from boron. Boron is the first element. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can see they are put in the same slot. Okay, these cards are put in the same slot. So boron and aluminum, their properties are very much similar to each other. You can also start with the magnesium here. Now in the magnesium, this is the first element here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So you can see in the upper group, the upper horizontal row, you can say, not the group, the upper horizontal row, the elements which are put in the same slot have the similar properties. Okay, but this one is only applicable for the elements whose atomic mass is up to 40 atomic mass unit. This thing is not applicable, not so much applicable for the elements whose atomic mass is greater than 40 atomic mass units. So you can say that it is only applicable up to calcium. So this is one of its limitations. So let's take a look of its limitations. The first limitation of Newlands Law of Octaves was that it was only applicable for the elements up to atomic mass of 40 atomic mass unit. So after many researches, it was found that it was only applicable for the lighter elements and up to calcium only. After that, this trend was not satisfying its idea. Okay, so this was the first limitation. The second limitation is that when Newland discovered his trend or his idea, only 56 elements were known. But what he said that only 56 elements can exist in nature. Well, which was not true, of course, as many more elements were discovered after his theory. So this was one of its limitations. The third limitation of Newlands Law of Octaves was that in order to fit his idea, or you can say in order to fit the elements in his table, he put two elements in one slot, and even those elements he put were not similar in the properties with the other elements. Okay, you can take a look here. As you can see, fluorine, chlorine and bromine are halogens, but he put the cobalt and nickel in that column, and you all know very well that they are not halogens. Cobalt and nickel are not halogens, and they are put in the slot, or you can say they put in the column of halogens. Why? It just to satisfy the increasing atomic mass and to satisfy his trend. Okay, similarly you can take a look here. these three are not resembling in their properties. Also, titanium, indium and zirconium are not similar with the properties of carbon and silicon. I mean, these five are not similar in their properties. So this was its third limitation, and the fourth limitation was that when he discovered this trend, when he discovered this idea, noble gases were not known. So as you all can see, there is not a single noble gas here. But when people knew about noble gases, those noble gases could not fit in this table. So this is also one of the limitations of Newlands Law of Octaves. As this idea had many limitations, but this idea was discovered in 1866 and its limitations were known after so long time, and in 1887 the Royal Society London recognized his work and awarded him with Davy Award. So this was up for today's video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this and click the bell icon.